The good ride, because pros can ride anything. We can't.
Yoder after a detour.
So, after a day on the hill, a few days of riding, we wanted to talk about a bunch of different boards we've rode and compared against one another. So you can see behind us is the Manta Ray 156, the Yoder, and the Stingray. But what we're talking about right now is the Yoder. And here's a little flex test for you, little couch flex. There are a couple things that I really like about this board. First off, for the first time, I've seen a Gentemstick with a U.s.Style stance range. Like this is 22 from dot to dot, which is so cool because usually that's as far out as you can go. 22 is as far as you can go with most Gentemsticks. Like the Stingray and the Manta Ray, your widest stance is 22. And so you have to put it all the way to here and all the way to here to get 22. So you have no setting back, nothing. This reference stance is 22, so you can bring it up or you can bring it all the way back on the deep, deep of days. And that's the one thing where I felt, like, I don't know if you agree with me here, the one place this really shined compared to these two other models behind us is powder.
I agree, yeah.
This is just a floater. And this tail just felt like there was a lot less there. And let's see, let's look at the specs here. It's a 57.3, and the effective edge is just a little bit more than the Manta Ray and Stingray, which are 54.8 and 54. But the waist is 27, which is just like massive. Huge compared to the other ones that are like high 25s. You're looking at the tail, it's like 29.7, and the nose is 32. So you're looking at a really good bit of taper there. That's pretty impressive. And I just felt like the big thing about this was the tail was just so light, and that when you got onto groomers, we really felt like you had to dial back your carves compared to the Manta Ray and Stingray. And Mason, another friend of ours who rode with us, felt the same way. And like where I was more in love with the 56 Manta Ray, you were more in love with the 54.8 Stingray.
Labeled as a 55 on the board, but
yeah,
it's
54.8.
Oh, yeah.
You were more in love with that, but in powder, this was the champ. And setting it all the way back, this thing floated so easy and was so much fun. And I'd rather have this in powder, but especially because I can set it all the way back. But
hands down, yeah. And keep that 22.
This just felt bigger, it felt floatier, and it was initially so detuned. Whoever gave it to us had detuned the shit out of this. So I went in and I actually paid the money because I was so curious about this to get the edges sharpened well instead of my half-assed attempt at doing it. And it did make the board a little better on groomers, but it just didn't have that tail bite. Like the tail really didn't want to hold and drive out of the turn like the Manta Ray, which also has a significant amount of taper. It felt a lot like the Hornet off the tail, where you really had to dial back your carves off the tail. It was a very different ride compared to the other Rays that we're talking about. And they're all kind of in the same category. But what did you think of it, Grant?
I agree with you. In powder, this would be the winner. I mean, it has a behemoth of a nose. It's the nose on this one's 320 versus 312-ish on the Manta Ray, because we don't have the exact specs on that one. And then the obviously the Stingray being the smallest, which the nose is 306. So 320's pretty big. I thought this would be, of these three boards, this would be a great option for someone who is a bigger guy and has I would say over an 11 foot. Because I'm an 11
Yeah.
and I'm almost maxing out these two. So if you're size 12 and you're a bigger dude and you like to ride
Good
22 or bigger, this is going to be your best option. And it's not a bad option if you got the deep enough pockets for it.
That's
they're
the biggest.
they're a little expensive. Great construction. I mean, these boards are fast. Whatever the base they use, I find
Oh wow!
holds
yeah.
wax really well for a long time. And I've used
and it's got
other
such glide.
great glide.
man.
Yeah, it's just they're all around good boards. The base is super durable too. I rode a Gentem last year, a different one than these for a lot of the time, and
And all black.
yeah, perfect.
Just a little dot at the top.
Yeah, so this would be a great option for someone like that. And it is an awesome paddle board. It looks cool. It's they're great boards. But for my personal taste, it wasn't as good as the other two that fall into this category in the Gentemstick line.
The biggest hurdle for me in recommending this board is the price. So there you have it. That is the Yoder XY. I'm stoked I finally got to get on this, and it was a very interesting ride.